Buongiorno a tutti e mi piacere essere qui con voi oggi. Io sono Dorothée Prunier, lavoro per Chubb come responsabile globale dei rischi ambientali e del coinvolgimento dei prodotti e servizi para il Clima Plus. So that's all what I can do in Italian. And I apologize because it's going to be just English. I wish I would do it in Italian, but maybe in 10 years, who knows. Thank you so much. So let's see if everything works. So today I'm going to bring you on a journey. We will start by climate change. It's not going to be anything new for you, but we will discuss about that. Then we will see what new technologies will come and will come live in the coming years and even now. And I want to talk about new risk that it's going to bring on top of that. And to see what is the best recommendation we can have with that, hoping it's going to be telling for everyone. So just to start, a few words about Chubb. Chubb is the #1 publicly traded insurance on the New York Stock Exchange for P&C. It's a global company, 40,000 employees with a lot of offices in different parts of the world, in 54 countries. It's a mix between US activities and the rest of the world. We want to push international for sure. And it's also a strong balance sheet and a bigger capitalization. So coming to climate, everyone now has accepted and agreed that climate change is a reality, a nowadays reality. It's a long-term alteration of the global temperature on Earth, which will come with some consequences. We already see some of them, but more are going to come. We know that also it's due to human activity, and I think it's a big part of the problem, and that's where we need to work on. So in 2015, during the Paris Agreement, nations have agreed that they should stop this increase and we should start reducing our global carbon footprint on Earth. So it means that we need to limit the increase to 1.5 degrees, and coming along to that, it means that we have to change everything. It's going to be a huge revolution in the way we do things. And coming along with that, it means a lot of investment. So the United Nations believe that it's going to represent in trillions, 124 trillions in the coming years. So it's a lot of investment that are going to be injected in the economy. And I just saw that yesterday Biden has increased also the budget for that. So it's really topical here. Coming along with that, all our organizations will have to change. We'll have to look at how we can first avoid, then reduce, decrease, and maybe capture the carbon that we are producing. So it means that we will see a lot of new technologies coming in our life and in our organization, the companies. So here are the main sectors that we will see emerging and changing in the coming years, coming first by energy. That's the obvious one. It's the elephant in the room. We are just moving from one way to produce energy to another, integrating much more renewable energies. But not only that, it means that we need to change drastically the electrical grid. So we see a lot of projects happening nowadays. The other part is also working on energy efficiency, how we can reduce the energy we need. And I think it's a big component that we need to focus on as well, because we want to keep growing. And between doing that, we need also to reduce and change the way we produce energy. A sector that is going to be also quite impacted is the food. We see nowadays some new technologies like molecular meat. So it's another thing that we will see. Transportation will be quite impacted as well, with a lot of things coming along with that. Gigafactories, battery production, carbon finance, and building construction also is going to be quite impacted. So all the things are happening nowadays. It means that it will have some impact also on companies, because the way we are doing things now is not the way we are supposed to do that in 20 years. And by those changes, it means that all the core function of companies are going to be impacted, from the production, which is the most obvious, to also the IT system, because it's going to mean that we will have to integrate new softwares, new way to measure how much we consume. So it's quite impactful for the organization. And then, as you need to make a transition and to change, coming along with that, there is a part of risk. And we don't change without risk. And that's really what we need to have in mind. And it's not going to be small risk on top of the current one we have. It's going to be fundamental, changing really the risk embedded in the company. So nothing new again here. I think going back to the basics, it's going to be a lot looking at what kind of consequences it's going to bring on the business, on the first-party part, but also to other liabilities you might have with partners. So coming with this assessment, then it's going to be about quantifying how much it can impact the business, and then to address. So one way to address, we know it's the transfer to insurance, but it's not the only one, and there are many things that can be done also internally within the organization, to measure the efficiency of the measures that have been taken, and ultimately to correct if there is something to correct again. So it's the basic, but I think with those new technologies, it's quite important to integrate that again and to roll this virtuous loop of the risk management. I took quite a simple example, and one that you're going to see a lot, because in Italy you have some sun, and there are a lot of investments that are going to happen in terms of photovoltaic electricity production. So it's a quite simple one, but I think it illustrates pretty well the new risk that you will see. So don't get me wrong, it's not about preventing you to invest in solar panel. We want more solar panel, but coming along with solar panel, there is a batch of concerns that are going to be here. So first part is the obvious, again, first party risk. Yeah, having a new solar panel in your facility will bring some new risk, clearly. It can be a source of fire. It can also damage your building structure. There are many things that can happen with the existence of a solar panel in your facility. You have also, you will have probably some concern about how much you expect in terms of energy production. And then it's where you need to make sure that the design has been really well done, and the advice you had initially were with a lot of quality, and the same buying the product. Depending on the product, you will have certainly a different quality. So those are things that are quite important to keep in mind. Legal risk. By producing electricity, you can become an energy producer, and as such, it will bring also new risk, contractual engagement, but also risk in terms of commitment, because it's going to be a topic that is going to be much more regulated, and you will have, by photovoltaic production, some new commitment, and it's also changing all the aspects of your organization. And then, last but not least, the reputational risk. If you fail producing electricity, or if there is a part coming with the litigation part, again, it might be quite damaging for the organization. So maybe not for one single solar panel, but if you want to put that at a big scale, it can be. So clearly, a solar panel comes with some concerns. And then here it's two cases illustrating that you can deal with something that is manageable and quite limited. So it's the first case. Imagine a warehouse owner deciding to install some solar panel on the ground. Then it's only for its own production. Then we can think, okay, the exposure is quite limited because if something goes wrong, it might just affect the level of energy it will have, and it's a way to also think about having some backup. Second case, a warehouse owner, but with different tenants in the building, willing to rent the roof for another company to produce electricity. In this case, I think if something goes wrong, you can really imagine the complexity of the case and all the interconnection between the tenants, the owner, and the third-party company for the electricity production. So it's simple, but you can see easily that this kind of installation can bring some complexity. Recently, we had in Chubb a client wishing to install solar panel on the roof of a big factory with sandwich panel. And our advice was to maybe think about putting that elsewhere, because suddenly you jeopardize all your business with something that is a quite annex activity. So there is a lot to take into consideration, and maybe people on the field, they don't see the risk, so it's probably up to all of us to bring this new attention and new awareness. So to finish and to explain you what Chubb is currently doing, we have created recently, in January, a new practice. The idea is to bring together some experts on the underwriting standpoint and on the engineering standpoint to have a common focus on those new technologies that we are going to see more and more in the coming years. And sometimes they are going to be created and with no experience. So it's really up to us to have a focus point and to look at that and to see how we can, as insurer, accompany clients with those new exposure and to see what best insurance solution we can propose, giving all the spectrum of insurance product we have. So that's what we are doing now, and that's the end of my presentation. So I thank you a lot for your attention. Grazie mille, and I wish you a very good end of the day at this nice event, ANRA. Thank you so much.